How much that impacts will depend by the sector, item by item. Some items that the United States imports from Taiwan, it can only get from Taiwan, and so those will just go up in price in the United States. And then other items that where Taiwan is a competitive exporter alongside other economies, that will depend on, in part, on what the tariffs are on those other economies, as well as whether those items can be alternatively sourced from inside the United States. But overall, the impact will be considerable and will be quite negative. So I think both the Taiwan government and Taiwan industry should make a clear and forceful case to the United States that the quote unquote reciprocal tariffs are unfair and excessive and unjustified. The U.S.-Taiwan trade relationship is not balanced, but it is mutually beneficial. U.S. companies benefit not just from their sales to Taiwan, but also from the imports that the U.S. Buys from Taiwan. So that case needs to be made clearly and forcefully. I think that it makes sense for the Taiwan government to seek negotiations, but I think it will be a complex and difficult process to actually get to negotiations that could be successful, and that this will take some time.
What the White House has been doing is they will mention tariffs and they will mention non-tariff barriers as examples, but the calculation that they've used is based purely on the trade deficit, saying that this trade deficit is an immediate result of those tariff and non-tariff barriers, which isn't entirely true at all. And so it's quite unfair, especially given the fact that every country is getting tariffed. The trade deficit countries and the trade surplus countries are all getting tariffed. The Trump administration's position is that foreign investors should come into the United States in order to avoid the tariff, because, as they say, if you invest in the United States, then you don't have to pay the tariff. Well, that's not entirely true because, again, the United States does not make everything. We do not have everything. Certain things we do not have. Like the ICT industry, we don't have a lot of production of critical minerals, materials that go into the semiconductor production process, which we'll have to continue to import. There's a lot of hope that this administration will negotiate, is willing to negotiate. I don't think that's true at all. You know, if we look at countries that have lowered their tariffs, or actually countries that the United States has goods surpluses with, everyone got a 10%, no matter what. I think maybe the Taiwanese government or other governments with an over 10% tariff rate are hoping that maybe they can negotiate down to 10%. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's necessarily going to happen, especially not within a week. Maybe that's something that happens 6 months from now, a year from now, when the real costs of these tariffs are starting to be seen in the U.S. economy, not just the stock market. And so maybe then there's an opportunity. But for now, I think what happens next is everyone's going to see higher costs. No one wins in a trade war. There's a few things. Higher costs are the most immediate, right? And that's higher costs for producers, higher costs for consumers, less trade, less efficient economies. And so it's not particularly good for the future of our economic growth.
台美关系的影响一定是会有比较不好的影响嘛。但是这个关税也是就算是一个谈判的手段。川普想要再继续从台湾的产业获得利益的话，这是他的第一个步骤。我们以去年2024年台湾出口到美国最多的产品，那就包含了工业用的电子设备、化学产品、塑胶产品、橡胶产品以及成衣这部分的产品，这部分的话就会比较多的影响，因为毕竟他们是被列在所谓增加32% 的关税产品上。国际供应链这个贸易产品其实还有一个很重要的部分，就是说 所谓的弹性的部分。你今天这个产品如果它非常的不可取代，那即便你课了相当多的关税，这个国家还是必须要进口，那这个产品就不会受到这么多的影响，它就会变成转嫁给该地的消费者，就把这 Made in 台湾的品牌打出来，然后让别人觉得说，哦，我一定非要不可从台湾这进口这一项产品的话，那不管多高的关税都没有问题的。觉得这个川普的贸易政策应该。这个所谓的 reciprocal tariff 应该是一个短期的贸易政策，因为他就是第一，他就是这是一个政治性的宣示嘛，他想要兑现他在选前的承诺，想要把所有的制造业再次回流到美国，这样，然后也照顾到美国所谓劳工阶级。那第二个部分是你知道这个所谓的关税可能会推升物价，那长期而言推升物价就是对经济体有很大的伤害，然后对于这个消费者也是有很大的冲击，这样，所以如果今天有一个经济的循环，然后就是经济衰退开始的话，我觉得这个部分应该就会开始做修正跟调整。